Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We are going to be changing some things here on this episode, and you can see, we have a bit of the highway system done from last episode. We have kind of a decent amount of the beginning train stops and stuff. But this episode, I kind of discovered something. I tested this, and we can remove these towns, lay out some more roads in like a little bit more of a proper layout, and then replace these towns to repopulate the area. So, for example, if I come over to, say, our northern town here, Seattle, and just get rid of it. Okay. Quite a drastic change. But what we can do with this is try to do a little bit more central planning that is required to make a city like this function. So I'm just going to come out here with some avenues. That's going to start spidering out and using this bus stop kind of like as a good central location here for us. We can go this way and over here, and I still want the game to do a lot of the kind of pre-generation of kind of city streets and stuff, because I think leveraging the power of that is super important. However, I can also leverage a lot more of my settings by doing it this way. So I'm just gonna come down here like this, kind of make a T junction. I don't like doing full four-way junctions when it comes to these structures. They tend to slow traffic down a little bit. So in my opinion, T's are kind of the better solution. We're going to even come across down over here, because I gotta have room for expansion, right? So let's do another route kind of off of here, and then maybe start it. Sometimes it's best to start where you want the line to finish and then finish connecting them there. And then we'll connect that avenue up. And then this might be an actual situation where we can just come across here and connect this up. Actually, we can just go across it and kind of end at a dead end. Okay, that's okay. And I want to just do the avenues, right? Because again, I do want the terrain generation to just simply fill in a lot of this. So we'll come out like this. We'll come over here with a bend, merge it and merge it. Again, I don't like to do four ways, but sometimes it's kind of needed to keep a nice, decent grid line going there. In fact, I'm going to change this line a little bit just to make it match the curvature of this a little bit better. So, all this is just kind of testing in a way. And there we go. I think that's a little bit smoother of a transition for those. Okay, so that looks good. We have a few more connection points coming to this side of the freeway, which is great. That's kind of what you want to see. So we'll have this. This will connect out to, I don't know, maybe here, and then maybe spiral a bit away. So long term, kind of like that, and then this may just come up and reconnect, and maybe have its own little jut like that. And this is, long term, I want this to be a pretty large city, so it's fine to over plan and just let the city, fill in all these gaps that we're kind of making here. So that's okay. think that's decent-ish. I don't like this. Let's do that. And then maybe square these up. Kind of like that. Because what I want is maybe like something like this. Kind of provide I say this and that a lot when I'm recording, it seems. The main goal is I want to have like a central point and then everything to kind of spiderweb off of it. I think that's a pretty cool look to it. So we'll try and do that as the base here. So here we want everything to be connected to the dock. That's easy enough. And then we'll kind of have this road come over, follow the edge of the beach a bit. We'll get another kind of parallel item coming like this, and then maybe a road kind of like here to provide a good connection point. Kind of like that. I think that's okay. Maybe just for variety's sake, have an angled road. Could be nice. So that's decent. Now, unlike the other side, we don't have quite as many areas to go under to the other side. So what I'm gonna do is maybe we can kind of force a tunnel. Something like this. You know, I'm not huge on tunnels myself, mainly because I've never really lived in a town or a city that has a lot of them. But I feel like they would be used, so we'll go ahead and use them. Why not? And then we'll just get a bit of a line like this. To wrap around. And maybe we'll come off and do a smooth turn to the other side. Okay. Okay. We'll start with that, and then we'll get rid of Santa Clara as well. I'm gonna have to rebuild some stuff here. Now, sadly, you know, I don't want, you know, this is kind of like the only time we're gonna be doing this. We don't want to do this too often because it will kind of create a interesting rebuild. And I'm pretty sure it will just delete anything that we do that, you know, you could tell just from what we deleted here, it deleted some roads that I even laid out. So this is just kind of interesting that it does that. So we'll come down like this, we'll go to the right as well. Maybe start after the bend. Through here. Okay, that's fine. Then we're just gonna do a 2-step kind of realignment curve to bring this over to here, connect those two main roads up. That can come out like here. I guess a little bit of a grid wouldn't hurt in this spot. like that. So we get, you know, a little bit more of a solid framework for roads. By doing this, we can also sneak, you know, perhaps some stuff out here, do another kind of branch possibly out this way. Which could be pretty cool. Could branch, say, underneath here and then down. In fact, if I do something like this, that might help with traffic to the bridge area. Just a little bit. It might not. Right now we only have 2 ways to cross the river, but this is effective, I think. And we'll go ahead and place some cities back down, and then we'll try and figure out what to do from there. So I'm gonna set them to medium cities. So we're gonna do tools, construction materials for the first one, and that's gonna be the left side. Now, you know, some of these might end up changing from where we had it before, and you know what, that's okay. So there is the new rebuild. We now have West Jordan over here, and that's okay. And then we're going to do food and machines on the other side. And so we need to plop this down roughly in a good central location. You can see that it kind of populated the other side of the river. I don't want it to do that just yet. I do want each side to kind of get its own. So we'll populate the right side now. And then boom, Centennial is the right side. And you know, all this can change, but I feel like we have a much more defined city structure to kind of support what we're trying to do. So this is an improvement. And then goods and fuel will go up here as well. I just enjoy watching some of this get drawn out because you kind of see what it's rendering before it finishes. Nice. So we have our three cities already back in place. Took about 12 minutes. Doesn't take too long to do this. You can see there's some interesting roads kind of being laid out, which is totally fine. I like the organic feel, and it should be pretty effective. So good. Yes, good. All right. Next step. One of the final things we need to do before we can start kind of figuring out all the locations for a lot of our factories is that we need to kind of one, hook up the interstate. So I went ahead, I think in between episodes, I did this kind of overpass and connection points to the interstate. We need one over here. You can see I kind of started with a bridge. So we'll go ahead and connect this up, I think. Best thing to do. And, you know, this is normal. We might have to change the looks of things a bit to kind of match what we've been doing. Okay. Not too bad. Here. You can have that cross. So not only is this going to be a good connection point to get onto the interstate, but also a connection point to kind of go across the interstate to the other side of town. Yep. And I live currently, you know, at the border between Virginia and Maryland. And let me tell you, only having one bridge across the river here, it's a little rough. It's not, you know, super friendly in nature. like the way they connected these two things up. And that's okay, because I can quickly disassemble and reconnect that bus stop here. Okay, now how do we do this, right? Because we have the bridge here from the rail line that's kind of in the way. So we can do standard, an off and an on. Let's see, can I get this to come out a little bit more straight? That would be better. Okay. Not too awful. Though it's not done yet. You might want to reserve your opinion of this until it is done. Should I just do a clover? A clover might just be the easiest solution. In fact, if I come over here and look at a clover, this is not a really good clover. Interchange here. This is one that came with the game. You can kind of see what they were doing, and no, that looks awful. Like, who thought that looked good at all? It doesn't. It doesn't look good. So we'll go ahead, grab a road. We need a one-way road with a decent speed limit. In fact, this part needs to probably be a 2-lane. So we're kind of gonna have to follow the interstate a bit as a somewhat smooth on-off ramp. I kind of don't like how we're going to be cutting this bridge away a bit, so I want to keep that support. I want to make sure that thing looks like it can carry the weight of these trains. Super important. All right, so we'll do that. So these are kind of its own merge lanes, you could say. Okay, and here. This on. Over here, sometimes it helps to change the angle a fair amount to help. New bridge pillar collision. There's no bridge pillar collision here. Maybe in there, but it shouldn't have been that bad. And it's alright for these to be a little steep, right? Because traffic, unlike trains, can kind of handle the steeper descents in a sense in this game. It's a little bit more elegant. So that side works. The other side's going to be the interesting side. I mean, it might. Let's just connect this up to the road and see what it does. This is gonna look a little weird. Actually, that's not too bad for it being sloped. Generally, these type of connections here look like the worst. A little bit of a weird bump, but you know, from far away, not super noticeable. we can live with that connection, I think. Ignore the one-way signals being broken. I think this one we might have to just kind of connect off and over. Like, honestly, this might be the easiest solution. Maybe not the most delicate looking. But honestly might just be the most straightforward. Okay. Then it just should simply connect. Let's try it back here. I want to get, there we go. I want to get a nice smooth turn on and off these things. Okay, now we just need to make sure all the arrows are kind of facing the right direction, and we should be okay. So let's flip that around. That one. This needs to go the opposite, and boom. Definitely a weird connection. It's not totally unbelievable. This feels still a little too sharp for me though. Is that better? I think that's better. There we go. You know, highways can have some really weird connections to them. It's not unheard of, right? Like the amount of times where I've had to like go parallel for a while and then all of a sudden I'm turning back around to connect back up. Let's see, let's do that. Nope, doesn't like that either. Just trying to get a smooth connection. Sometimes this is what you spend more time doing in this game than playing. Alright, so we're gonna come out kind of like this, flat. Then we are going to head up. And then we are going to connect it to here. Boom. Looks kind of wobbly. I think for this game, though, this is about as good as you're going to get for such a tight little spot through here. All right. That looks fine. And then we just need to do kind of the same thing over here. So bring the avenue, and I might, you know, upgrade this avenue or change the looks of it over time. I don't expect this to be like the final kind of design choice of it. So we'll do that. And then this one's probably going to be a little bit more standard, right? Because we actually might have a little bit more room to work with. So we'll come out straight here. You know, I could do like a diverging diamond at some point. That might be interesting to try in this game to see if it really does it. But I have a feeling, because unlike City Skylines, we can't really do a traffic management too well, as we're kind of just stuck with, you know, whatever kind of traffic lights get generated with the base game. Yep, just go, nope, stop. Just go straight like that. And we need this. Come down here. Okay. This one to meet it as well, and then we'll just smooth out this terrain a little bit. Get rid of some of the chunkiness. And there we go. That was pretty quick to do. I'm gonna have to flip these around a bit. So that all the interstates are kind of facing the same way, and that is 3 connections. So we have one over here near Springfield. We have one over here at West Jordan. Again, I'm still collecting names for these segments. I kind of need a full town or a city name, and then we'll just call this, you know, West city name, East, and then, you know, North, you know, boroughs, maybe name them after boroughs or something like that. That'd be cool. Yeah, that is kind of effective, I would say. That's looking pretty good. Now we can kind of move on to potentially laying out some industries. And again, I kind of want the end product maybe to be made in town. Maybe two commercial items and 2 industrial items be created in town, and then maybe 2 total kind of mid-tier. So like the oil refinery might be in town, or like the lumber mill might be in town. You know, something like that. Who knows? So let's see. We have bread. So that's commercial. We have fuel, and that's industrial. We have freight, so that's commercial. And so we need one more industrial. So we can do either machine or construction components. So what's the construction brickyard kind of look like? So it kind of looks like this. Doesn't look too amazing. I wonder if I can just fit it out here. Or I could just fit it with the rest of the industries. This is kind of like the industrial bank, you could say, out here. So we could do that and ship these through. But I did also kind of want to have just 2 on each side. That might be, from a balance standpoint, more interesting to do. That means I can't put the bricks in this town or this quadrant. We're going to put them up here, probably. So if that's if that's what we're doing. If otherwise, it might be the gears, the machine factory, which could be cool. It looks a little bit more usable in a way. as like an actual city piece. I kind of wish I could just fit this here. Like I fit the other one within the town, and I think that turned out well. I could just maybe throw it back here too. Maybe like that. Get rid of that road. Okay, so machine parts, that's gonna go over there. Goods gonna come over here. Bread, closest one. Fuel, far one. So maybe we'll change the bread to tools. You know, I want movement across town. I don't want things to really kind of pop in too much at the same kind of easy commercial route. Okay, so there's those. Industry-wise, that might be cool to do over here is what's needed. Steel might be a big one. So the steel mill. I mean, that's a big factory. That might be more of a capstone factory than anything out here, you know? And it looks like it has room to grow. So we can do the steel factory out here. Okay. And then one of these things that are required, lumber might be good. And if we do lumber in this one, let's see what the lumber yard kind of looks like. How big is it? Pretty sure it's a smaller-ish one. I kind of wish I could kind of make that road go away, because right now this would be a beautiful spot for it. But you know what? I could also throw it up here. Maybe. I may have to redo these connections a bit, because I wouldn't mind making it nice and parallel to this. So if I grab here and do that and delete that road and go back to our kind of large street here. Kind of trick the system. And booyah. So there you go. We can make planks. Half of it will go over to Springfield, the other half will go over to the tools factory, and then we'll also try and get steel over here to kind of the heavier industrial area. I do plan on building a larger kind of train yard here, which might look pretty cool, I think, if I can do it right. And this might also service the commuter lines going through the town. And then, of course, as the town grows and we expand, we can add more commuter trains, maybe like a west branch that goes out this way and east branch that goes out this way. You know, a lot of room for growth on this map because, again, these are kind of the only towns and these are kind of the only industrial areas. So I think it's starting to take some shape. I think next episode we will go ahead and work on some vehicles and just start making progress. So with that, thanks so much for watching on this episode of Transport Fever. I would be exiting this with a nice view of maybe riding a train or something like that, but since there's nothing moving yet, we're kind of just stuck with this kind of view. and I think this works. So if you want more creative goodness such as this, definitely hit that like button and subscribe for more creative goodness. If you want, you can leave a comment for some name suggestions for the different areas of our city. And if you have other suggestions, leave them down below as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.